And now a little story from the apple seed.
Thank you all. I'm thrilled to share my stories with you, and I do have a lot of them. When I first started telling stories at festivals across the country and now in other places in the world, I asked my husband to time the stories for me. He's my roadie, and now he's retired, so he gets even more work from me. And so he started timing the stories. These were in the early days of my travels. And then he said, I'm not timing anymore. And I thought, okay, I've disturbed him. He's just sick of doing this. And so I said, well, that's all right, thanks. He said, no, you don't understand. You now have more than 24 hours worth of stories. Nobody wants to hear you run your mouth that long. I think you're good. So I'm grateful that I have the material that I have, but most of it began with me being a listener to folks in my family. They were my favorite storytellers. My daddy, who was in the last graduating classes of the Tuskegee Airmen, and was among those whose battle was to integrate the troops here in the United States, was my favorite storyteller. He told all kinds of folk tales, and he could make up a story just like that. And then when you'd ask him to tell it again, because he couldn't remember what he made up just like that, he'd change the story. And it was still good. One day he started a story about a character whom he named Neeber And it took about 2 other storytelling sessions for me to realize it was Robin Hood. And he just said his name backwards, Neeber. And my brother and I cannot remember the rest of those stories. We just remember the beginning. He said, once upon a time, there was a man by the name of Neeber. And he wasn't like Robin Hood. He didn't steal from the rich and give to the poor. He stole from everybody and kept it for himself. And then he learned a lesson from others, and that changed him into somebody who was perhaps as good as Robin Hood. But we can't remember the story. We would have to make it up. And folks were very good at making up stories in my family, but some of them, well, they just came from hearing stories when they were children, perhaps reading stories, but I think more of the knee-to-knee storytelling in our Afro-Latin or African-American Appalachian family. And one of them had to do with my favorite character, Rabbit. Now, some folks say Brer Rabbit. There's also Bro Rabbit, Bruh Rabbit, Burr Rabbit, She Rabbit, He Rabbit, Ms. Molly, Ms. Hare. We just said Rabbit in my family because there were too many rabbit stories. And Rabbit was on his way home. And you can help him go home by patting on your legs. And he was thinking about his good wife, Miss Molly, and all his children. They called him the little Rabs. And he loved going home. It was his happy place. So he started singing, going back to my happy place, going home to my happy place. Like fish in the river, like birds in the air, I'm happy in my happy place. And he was so happy he had his head back. Sun was shining on his face. He'd closed his eyes because he knew where he was going, and then he had to stop because he'd run into something fuzzy. And he was kind of scared to open his eyes. Something big and fuzzy. Something big and smelly and fuzzy. He knew who it was. He opened up his eyes. He said, hi, Brother Bear. Bear said, hello, breakfast. Rabbit said, my name's not Breakfast. But I know you could change my name to Breakfast if you wanted to. And I know I can't run fast enough to get away from you when I'm this close. You could just reach out and grab me by my ears. And that makes me feel so bad because, you see, I was going to my happy place. And now I'm not going to make it to my happy place. And Bear said, what's a happy place? Rabbit asked, Brother Bear, you don't know what a happy place is? Bear said, don't think so. You don't have a happy place? Bear asked, what is it? Rabbit said, oh, it's a place where your heart feels happy. It's a place where your brain starts smiling. It's a place where it seems like the sun is shining down just for you. That's a happy place. Bear said, sounds good. Give me your happy place. Rabbit said, I don't think I understood you. What did you say? Bear said, I said, give me your happy place. Rabbit said, man, I can't give you my happy place. He was thinking about his wife and his children and his home. And he said to Bear, if you want a happy place, you're going to have to find one or make one for yourself. Bear said, I don't feel like doing that. Give me your happy place. And he held out one big paw, and then he held out the other, and he showed the claws. Ding, 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 ding. And he grinned that grin with those big sharp teeth, and he growled, give me your happy place. Well, Rabbit knew he wasn't going to give Bear his happy place, his wife, his children, his home. He wasn't going to take him there. But you see, Rabbit was one of those folks that always used his head to get out of trouble, never his fists. And he already had an idea. He said, I'll take you to a happy place, Brother Bear. You just walk with me and I'll take you to a happy place. And they started walking together, Rabbit and Bear walking. But to make himself feel better, Rabbit started singing. Gonna find a happy place, gonna find a happy place. Like fish in the river, like birds in the air, I'm happy in my happy place. And Bear started teasing. He said, yeah, I guess you need a happy place, 'cause you the funniest looking thing I've ever seen in my life. You know, sometimes bullies like to tease. He talked about Rabbit's big feet, and Rabbit's long ears, and Rabbit's funny little tail, and Rabbit's funny little teeth, and Rabbit just kept on walking. Didn't pay any attention. Sang his song again. You can sing it too. Gonna find a happy place, gonna find a happy place. Like fish in the river, like birds in the air, I'm happy in my happy place. And Bear just kept on teasing. And Rabbit just kept on walking and singing. And Bear just kept on teasing. And Rabbit just kept on walking and singing. And Bear just kept on teasing till he had to stop. See, he hadn't been looking where he was going. He was looking at that rabbit and talking about him terribly. And he had walked himself right into a blackberry patch. A briar patch with all kinds of thorns amongst the leaves. And he was stuck in those thorns. He'd walked right in there. But in the meantime, Rabbit had walked right through the briar patch, 'cause rabbits know about briar patches, and come out on the other side. And there was Bear. He tried to move his paw. Ow. Tried to move his ear. Ow. Tried to move his foot. Ow. Rabbit looked at him and said, Brother Bear, what's wrong? Bear said, I'm stuck. Rabbit asked, can you get free? Brother Bear said, no. Rabbit asked, are you sure? Bear said, ow. Yeah, I'm sure. Rabbit said, well, good. Then this must be a happy place for me. 'Cause my heart is happy. My brain is smiling. I feel like the sun is shining down just for me. And now I am going to my real happy place. You figure out how to get yourself out of this trouble all by yourself. Bye, said Rabbit, and he made his way home. Happy as he could be. You see, sometimes you bump into trouble. Sometimes you walk right into trouble. Sometimes it's just waiting for you no matter what you do. But if you keep your head, you use your brain, you feel your heart, and you keep on trying, you'll get to your happy place. And everybody needs a little happy place. That's the end of that story.
Thanks for joining us for a little story from the Appleseed.